All right, I'm going to run through very quickly how to use the solar insolation studies in Insight 360. We're focusing on this site here, and we just want to understand how, if there is a building here, what do the adjacent buildings do? Right now, these are masses, and they have a material assigned to them that actually lets them cast shadows. It's a solid material, not the default mass material. Before you ever do any of this, always make sure that you actually are in the right part of the planet and your true north is right. I would recommend watching another video on how to set those up, but location is pretty easy. Click on the location, make sure it's where you are. You can even type in an address and hit search and you can go there. And make sure your true north is correct. Go to your site plan, make sure your site plan is pointed in a direction. As long as its orientation is set to true north, the roads and the buildings should be pointing actually the way they would if up is perfectly true north. So with that, let's go to a 3D view. I'm going to make a mass here just so we can study it. It could be a cylinder, it could be a square or a cube, but I'm going to make it a cylinder. So I'm going to do massing in site, in place mass. I'm going to name it something interesting like Mass 5. Go to the top just so I can look down on it. And when I select the tool, I'm going to make sure I'm on the right level. So this is basically at the grade. I'm going to draw, looks like a 60-foot diameter cylinder. So now I'm just two-dimensional. So what you want to do is select that and hit create form. Solid form. Yeah, we're just going to go up. You can tell it to be 70 feet tall if you want. And finish. And now I have a mass. Alright, so next up, go to the Analyze tab. And there's a solar button over here. If there's not a solar button over here, just Google Insight 360, REVIT, and download. And you can download, it's a free program, plugs right in. It's made by Autodesk, and this is a pretty handy tool. So I'm going to click on this. So once I've clicked on this, I get a little dialog, and it's showing me it has some settings we need to change. For one, typically I think it starts off at kilowatts per meter squared. Let's change that to BTUs per square foot. It's more common in the United States. Then it's asking us what kind of surfaces are we analyzing. So it's saying all like roof exterior surfaces. I actually don't have any because these are all masses and this is a topo surface, so I have no roof exterior surfaces. So what I'm going to do is do user selection. And what this message is saying here, and you might close it real fast and not listening to it, but what it's saying is it just added these buttons. You'll never see these things. Many times I have made the selections I wanted and tried to click on something here and nothing happens because you have to click finish. So that's all that thing is saying basically. So right now I could select any surface on any of these masses. So I'm going to select that surface, hold down shift and select this surface and hit finish. And I have selected those surfaces. It's showing how much square footage I've selected. The next thing it's doing is it's saying that this is a full year sunrise and sunset, which is good. We're looking for how much solar insolation is hitting, how much energy is hitting these facades year round. We can adjust this later. The way you adjust it is your sun settings. See, right now it automatically sets us the multi-day. It does the full year sunrise and sunset every hour. I just want to make sure my ground plane level is accurate. Okay. All right. So that makes this dark, but I'm just going to hit hidden line so we can see it a little bit better. Then the last thing we need to do is hit the style. We're going to do solar analysis default and immediately go to its settings because its colors are terrible. When you run the analysis, you would never know what purple the yellow means. So let's switch it to more standard colors, with the max being red, the min being blue, and the middle being yellow. Let's do yellow as a default here. All right, okay. It already has those pieces selected. We have the full year. We're going to hit the update button. And it's going to think a little bit, but it's actually not too bad. And there you can see exactly where the hottest parts of the most energy strikes the building. And you can see the cooler parts. You can see how we're shaded by these adjacent structures. And you can see how the north side of the building is pretty cool. Not a lot of energy striking the side of the building. So this, right early in design, just with a mask that we whipped up on the site, we can see where we might have heat issues or solar radiation that we can actually use striking the building. So you can adjust the sun settings to be different types of years. You can change it to just be a quarter, just do a season, do the summer solar study. You can change it to a bunch of things just to see how our pieces have, or how much energy is striking here. The other thing that typically shows up, let's see where it is, there it is. It's very awkward, shows up in random locations, but it's always good whenever you're showing analysis like this to actually have a legend that means something. So here's a legend, shows you the max and the min BTUs. It says a lot of information here. If you want to edit this legend, and you might want to, it's under the same settings that we edited with the solar analysis default, except just go to the legend. And you might want to turn off the description and apply. It makes this a lot more simple. And you can also change the sizes of things. You can change the size of the legend. You can change the size of the text that shows up with it. A lot of times, I just zoom in and clip out this legend and then Photoshop it onto the view that we want, just so I have a little more control over where it is at all times. But you can move it around. So if I'm rotating around, see it ran off. But if you zoom out, select it, and you can pull it right in and save your image. I think I'm actually under the site. Yeah. There it is. And that's it. That's how to check the solar radiation striking your building using Insight 360. And in this case, we're in REVIT 2019.